my name is Freema, the Rabbi from another planet. Please like, share, and subscribe, and ring that little bell so you're notified when new videos drop. If you can consider hitting the subscribe button, thank you so much. You know, I really wish I had a smoother introduction. I'm very bad at this. I listen to other YouTubers, like Ethan Skyver. It's fantastic. He's so smooth and confident. Hi, join us. And I'm just like, oh, I want to. Yeah, but me, I'm just like, oh, please hit the subscribe button. Please, go. Oh, I'll be so grateful. Yeah, that's just, I'm just no good at selling stuff. I'm terrible. One of my earliest jobs, I was a fundraiser for, I was a rabbinical fundraiser. I sucked at it so hard. Oh my God, I think I lasted, 2-3 months doing that. Oh my God, it was so terrible. Anyway, so I apologize. But if you can hit the subscribe button, thank you very much after all that. And, you know, I wanted to show my appreciation. We give stuff away each week. The stuff we're giving away this week is Doctor Who, the complete third season. I freaking love this season. It's the Martha Jones one with the John Simm master sound of drum. And all you got to do to win it is subscribe to the channel. That's the important bit. And leave the hashtag #VoteSaxon. Vote Saxon, and you can leave it here, you leave it on Twitter, you leave it on Facebook. Don't do it on Instagram because I have no idea what I'm doing on Instagram. And there's a second prize this week because I tried to give this away several weeks ago. Doctor Who, the complete specials. The guy who won it was called Nameless Entity. I've contacted him many times, and he hasn't sent me his address. So again, the second name out the hat will be winning this. It's given away on the TARDIS Zone. Which is at 9 o'clock on, it's going to be on Sunday, March 1st, when we talk about Timeless Children, the final episode of Doctor Who, which is probably going to blow up canon. So there's going to be a lengthy discussion, and probably an angry one if you love this era and you don't like hearing anybody not liking it. That may be the stream that's not for you. I would move on from that. Although, listen, if you're up to hearing it, we won't be rude to you. I can promise. Well, I can almost promise you, I won't be rude to you. I can say I statements. I don't think anybody else will be rude to you for out the bat for no reason. And one last thing, because I feel kind of bad that there's only one person can win. So I feel people get disappointed. So I want to give away something to all of you guys. So in the video notes, also in the video notes, there's the instructions on how to win those DVDs, or Blu-rays. In the video note, there's a link to a 1980s Doctor Who story. Audio Doctor Who story starring Nicholas Briggs, made by a fan group called Audio Visuals, which eventually grew to become Big Finish. It's pretty darn good. It's a Cyberman story called Sword of Orion. It was remade as one of the Paul McGann stories. I think it's third or fourth story he did for them. It's really good. So yeah, look, just go to the video notes, download it, have a listen. I enjoy it, and I'm going to be giving one of those away each week until I find something else to give away. Fine. I hope you enjoyed listening to it. You know who should be doing a little bit more listening to the fans in general? Piers Wenger. Piers Wenger, the commissioning controller for BBC drama. And what is this title? I'm trying to look it up. BBC's controller of drama commissioning. So Piers Wenger, if you ever wonder what the sound of desperation sounds like, it sounds like Piers Wenger right now, because Doctor Who's ratings have fallen off a freaking cliff. And they continue to fall. I really thought this week's episode would go up, but it went down. I'm amazed. It got a 3.71 overnight. And also the consolidated numbers are way down. They were getting like 2 million in consolidated. That's people who watch it over the next week on iPlayer. And now they get like 1.2. So probably when you get the consolidated numbers, it'll be like 7.8, 7.9. I mean, not so, 4.8, 4.9, probably around there. And then if you want to do like the plus 28 day number, that gives you an extra 500,000. So it'll be like it'll be 5.3 probably by the time it's done, if it's lucky. I have to tell you, I find the consolidated numbers are a little bit, I mean, the 28-day numbers are a little bit shenanigans. They have, they count you as a viewer if you watch 2 minutes of it. So, really? That's not a viewer. So I'll be interested to see what the real numbers is. And you know who knows the real numbers? Piers Wenger, which is why I think he's crapping himself around. You know what situation Piers Wenger is in right now? Okay, sometimes the good Lord dump something perfect in your lap. So firstly, it was him, Piers Wenger, doing this, failing to do this charm offensive, but really trying. But last night, I had an incident with my dog. My dog Snuggles, which really, I think, describes Piers Wenger's position better than anybody else. Now, Snuggles is getting old. He's a King Charles Spaniel. will never the brightest bulb in the patch. He's always been a bit stupid. In fact, he was lost for 6 months. We went as a family on vacation, and we gave him to this kennel. The kennels lost him in the Judean desert, where they took him for a walk without a leash. So we figured he was gone. And then 6 months later, my niece found him being sold on Facebook. And so we had to do this whole negotiation. We had to buy him again. Okay, it was a nightmare. Anyway, but this dog is kind of like traumatized and stupid at the best of times. Like when he runs for it when he was younger, he would run from the couch, and he would leap up in the air to jump on the couch, and he would mistime it every time, and then hit himself on the base of the couch, like in his face, like. So that's my dog. So my dog's a bit stupid. And now he's got this like neurological complaint. He's nearly dead. We're really hoping he's going to die, but we can't kill him. But we're really hoping he'll die. So because this is more Rabbi from Another Planet news. We're going to start these big renovations in my house. It's incredible. There's these little tiles in my bedroom that were loose. So we had somebody come in and look at them. Apparently we had a slow leak under our floor since we built the house like 10 years ago. And all the sand they put under the tiles is all ruined. So they've got to pull all the tiles up from the floor. We're redoing the kitchen at the same time. They pull all the It's going to be a freaking nightmare. Anyway, so but as we're getting a new floor, we really want this dog to die before that happens, which is going to be in the next few weeks, because we don't want him pissing all over that floor as well. So anyway, we can't, because he's so freaked out, this dog. We can't get his nails cut or trimmed without him being sedated, because he's crazy. Okay, he's very cute, but he's freaking crazy. And so we sedated him yesterday, but they wouldn't, because he's got this neurological thing. They said before they sedated, we had to sign a waiver that, because he said he might die if we sedate him. We're like, yes. Is there anything we can? Do you want to give him a little bit extra? So we're fine with him. Might die. And then he survived. Bloody hell! This dog is like the Terminator. He will not die. So and he's so cute as well. So he came back, and they gave him like this deworming, but he can't. He wanted to drink some water, and he spilt the water because he's stupid. He walked in the water and spilled it, and then he can't move it because he's scrabbling on the floor because his nails are too short, and he can't get any purchase on it. So I was downstairs in my basement last night, and I hear the scrabbling going on. I was like, oh god, I can't see what's going on. My wife was out, so I went upstairs, and I'm not exaggerating. This dog had exploded in diarrhea and piss everywhere. If I wasn't getting my floor replaced, I would want my floor replaced. And it was so. I went and I hid in my bedroom, and I called my wife and said, I can't deal with this. And then I put a message on my family WhatsApp to my kids saying, I can't deal with this. And they were like, yes, we understand that you can't deal with this. So, but basically this is what happens. So the dog, because there's all this diarrhea, this really liquid diarrhea and piss everywhere, he can't move. He's like, he's scrabbling on the floor. He's trying to move. So I had to pick him up from the feces and the urine in soaked ground and kind of shake him off, and carry him over to his little doggy basket, which is at least made of fabric, so he can move around again and be. So anyway, my point of this, the reason I went with this, that's basically where Piers Wenger is right now. He is the same as my dog when he's scrabbling on the floor going, caught in his own piss and shit. That's where Piers Wenger is right now. And let me explain it. Let's dive into this. So the first, I think this all came from the same event on Monday night, but there's 3 articles come out, and they all tie together beautifully. So the first one I'm going to reference is, where was it? I think from Deadline or from this one's. I think it was on Deadline, or either Deadline or Radio Times. So the headline is: the BBC is a very long way from wanting to rest Doctor Who, says drama boss. So the headline should be: BBC drama boss cannot admit he screwed up. I would rather watch everything burn down than admit I screwed it up. And he would rather admit burn everything down and admit he screwed up. Why? Because there's no accountability for anybody in that freaking industry. Look at Bob Iger. Bob Iger bought Star Wars, destroyed it. Bought Marvel, basically Marvel Comics, destroyed it. I think he's in the process of destroying the MCU. He had everything. He's like anti Viagra for success. He's like the reverse Midas touch. Everything he touches turns to crap. So what? So finally, accountability caught up with him, and he yesterday he stood down from as the CEO of Disney. But what's the practical like ramifications for him in his life? He's still a multi-billionaire, still has incredible homes. I'm sure he has more than one mansion. Still has his exact same lifestyle. He's part of the glitterati. Nothing, absolutely nothing has happened to him from destroying billions and billions of dollars and breaking the hearts of, I would say, tens of millions of people who love the things that he took and he destroyed. So yeah, so Piers Wenger about to say he's going to face no accountability because these people can't face accountability. So let's hear what stupidity he had to say. I worked on Doctor Who myself. I produced it for many years. I thought it was like 1 year. Was it 1 or 2? I don't know. It was. I remember you were in the Doctor Who Confidential where they announced Matt Smith as a doctor, and you had this terrible cold, like one of the worst colds I've ever seen. And for some reason, you had to go on camera, making sure you're a part of it. That's why, actually the only time I ever saw a cold that bad, and it was terrible. It was like you looked terrible. There was this documentary on BBC Three about weird sex stuff, and they had this porn star on, and she had the terrible cold as well. I felt so bad for the girl. Oh, God. What was her name? I don't know. But I'm sure you'll be able to find it on YouTube. What is it? The Secret World of Sex or something it was called. Pretty interesting. Anyway. So yeah, where was it? So I posted it for many years, and I can honestly say I don't think it's in better health editorially. Yes, we know that's what we know. It's in fantastic health editorially. It's implementing the BBC's editorial policy, which people simply aren't interested in. So that takes us to the second article. This was from the DailyMail.com, where the headline: BBC drama boss Piers Wenger hits back at criticism of woke versions of classics, insisting older stories must be adapted for modern audiences. Well, how's that working out for you, Piers? Really, how the rating figures on all this stuff? Not so good. I would posit. You know what a classic is? Classic means timeless. It means that Shakespeare is classic, and you don't need to change one iota of it for it to remain classic, to remain perfect. To remain what it was in it. Same with pretty much anything. If anything that's classic is timeless. It doesn't matter that it was written or in a time which has different sensibilities. Crazy sensibilities that sex wasn't mutable. That sort of thing. I'm sorry, and most people can live with it being in a different, coming from a different world than we live in. But most people are okay without seeing themselves represented on TV. This idea that somehow representation erases it makes you representation is diversity. It's not. Organic representation is, but like when it's just shoehorned in, it's racism. So let's see what he's got to say. There were adaptations of books that were written a long time ago. Yes, because they're classics. Hundreds of years ago. Yes, classics. See what I said about classics. But we are repurposing them for a contemporary audience. Okay, so this can actually be done, After railing against it, it can actually be done, but you need to be a writer of particular skill and judgment. And even then, in this current TV environment, where you've pushed so many people away, you've alienated so much of the audience, it makes it much harder to be done. The examples they talk about was A Christmas Carol that came out this year. Now, that one I thought worked. It was by Stephen Knight. It seemed to be kind of reflective of the original text and just added a bunch of stuff in which didn't contradict it. Generally speaking, I felt it well. But Stephen Knight, I think, is a fantastic writer. I think he's probably one of the greatest living television writers today. Then you had War of the Worlds, which failed utterly because you jettisoned the plot after the first episode, and then went into like you had to put a woman in make the central character. And again, there's nothing wrong with there being a woman being a central character, but there's nothing wrong with a woman not being a central character either. Yeah, I lived through the 80s, 90s, 2000s, 2010s as well. And I don't think women felt maligned and downtrodden because literally every position of authority in fiction, in media, in television, in movies had to be portrayed by a woman. Like every single one. Like The Bodyguard. Bodyguard, a great show. Literally every single position of authority was female. So it doesn't have to be everyone. And I think, I think probably women felt okay about themselves without seeing themselves in every position of authority. What they probably didn't feel okay about is you and people like you insisting they suck your cock so they can get to be, the third extra in some crappy sitcom. That's probably what they don't like. The idea of them not being represented in position of authority, not so much. So then he goes on to say they need to speak to a contemporary audience and represent the contemporary world as being stories set in our past. Now, okay. If your viewership is switching off in their millions, you're not speaking to a contemporary audience. You're not speaking to any audience. You're speaking to insane people who live on Twitter. You're speaking to the Twitterati. The blue check mark Twitter Taliban. That's who you're talking to. You're not talking to a contemporary audience. You're talking to mad people. That's the point of adaptation. You do that with everything. Yes, again, but there's no point of adapting something if you're not going to try and represent what the source material is actually meant, which is War of the World. Not even close. Not even close to what you put out. I really object when I hear the term woke used in a pejorative way, because what does woke really mean? What? Okay, I know you really object to it. You know the reason you object to it? Because that's the major criticism against you, Piers Wenger, about your policy. Your policies. Woke means the inorganic stuffing of entertainment with agenda, like much like Doctor Who, in favor of producing an entertaining entertaining experience. You made lecturing the goal rather than entertaining. It's really what happened in from 2016 onwards in the comedy world, where the comedians decided they wanted to stop making people laugh and just get worthy applause. Okay, shut up. No, entertain us. We're not here to make you feel good about yourself. If it whether I really don't know what woke is, but I do think that equality, fair representation, and portrayal are all things that matter hugely to the BBC. Yeah, no, equality doesn't matter to the BBC. Again, you have a progressive stack. You have people who you feel have been maligned and have been marginalized because you're crazy and you know nothing. And so these people cannot be criticized. So if you put a woman in something that's normally a male role, again, Doctor Who, you do that not because you're worried about women's rights, because again, you're making women suck your cock to give them parts in shitty TV shows. You don't care about women's rights, okay? You're doing it to make yourself look good. And that's the only goal. The goal isn't to produce a good TV show, because you're producing a TV show which people generally find boring. A TV show that people feel like it's a lecture by a 13-year-old having just found out that bad things happen in the world. So that's the editor. Yeah, so Doctor Who is in a great position editorially, because it's produced in the crap that you want it to produce. He says, I think it's fantastic, and the production values obviously have never been better. I don't know. This week's episode, the CGI was really, really, really ropey, I'm afraid. And look, this week's episode was the closest you've come to making an episode of Doctor Who in years. If it wasn't for Whittaker and Chibnall, this would have been probably the best Sideman story since Earthshock. But they are just Whittaker is horribly miscast, and she's a wrecking ball of suck. Chibnall just isn't a good writer. I mean, I think a lot of this episode work, but generally speaking, he doesn't think things through, and he's lazy. Yeah, and I think that's what the real problem with the entire entertainment industry is, filled with lazy people who don't have any accountability. I think it's fantastic. It's an incredibly important show for younger audience. No, it's not. No, younger audiences watch YouTube. They're not interested in you. Still watched by families. No, it's not. No, people are okay. I'm going to take a guess that when David Tennant or Matt Smith were the Doctor, there was double the amount of women watching because there was double the amount of people watching. And in a world where there are fewer and fewer shows that have the power to do that, yes, the show that doesn't have the power to do that anymore is Doctor Who, because it doesn't have the power to get people to watch it, let alone families. So it'll always be an important show for us. And you can add in that, and it'll always be important that I don't admit I have done anything wrong whatsoever, take any accountability for my utter failures. I think we're a very long way from wanting to rest it. And now here comes the real rub. Here's the real reason we talk. Wenger also just suggested the cost of producing Doctor Who is not as significant as one thinks, since the show is not just funded by the BBC, but funded by international partners. Yes, Piers, we know you got that big paycheck from HBO and from China to make Doctor Who. They've already paid for it. We know that. And that's why you're making more Doctor Who regardless, making more of this Doctor Who regardless of it being so thoroughly rejected by the British public. Okay, but what was really going on? What's his real motivation other than just avoiding any accountability? And the answer is he's going to have to face some accountability. This comes from an article in Deadline. So BBC drama chief says scrapping the license fee could blow a hole in the TV drama boom. Yeah, no, it could blow a hole in your editorial policy, which you're so happy about. It could certainly blow a hole in your editorial policy because your editorial policy is not popular. People don't want to pay it. The only way you can get away with it is because people have no choice but to pay you to do this pap and do this thing that we all find so egregious and ridiculous. So let's see what he had to say here. In opening remarks, he painted a picture of a world in which the BBC does not exist in its current form. Without the BBC, the drama market will be less vigorous. No, again, Sonic the Hedgehog, baby, Sonic the Hedgehog, and which you all hated because Sonic Hedgehog came out with its trailer and its fans, its audience, which I am not one of, went, "This is garbage. We're not paying you for this." And you know what they did? He did exactly the opposite of what all your other arse clowns in Hollywood did. And he went, "Really? Oh my God, I'm so sorry. We're going to fix it." And he fixed it. And you know what the result was? The biggest opening weekend for any video game adaptation of a movie ever. That's why. If he hadn't fixed it, it would have vanished quicker than Birds of Prey. So, and it's going to be vanished quicker than Doctor Who's viewing public is. So yeah, it'll be less vigorous. You wouldn't be able to get away with your crap. That's really what you're saying. We are a primary incubator of storytelling talent in the UK, and in a sector which is so heavily commercialized, I truly believe there is nowhere else in the world where you can be as creatively free as you can at the BBC. You're not creatively free at the BBC. You have zero diversity of thought at the BBC. You have one way of looking at things and one way alone. If you had some diversity, you would have a lot more appeal, but you don't have the diversity. And quite frankly, Piers, it's not good to be a white male named Piers talking about diversity and inclusion. You want to do diversity and inclusion? Let somebody in the progressive stack do your job. But the trouble is, because you have this progressive stack and that's the way you hire people not based on talent. There's not a meritocracy anymore. It's I don't know what the right word is for it, but it's not a meritocracy. And if it was, you probably would have better ratings. And that's what you're terrified. You're terrified of financial accountability, which is something you've never had to face before. Let's see. Wenger also echoed the familiar piece of BBC rhetoric on the streaming wars. The broadcaster does not have to make decisions based on recommendations of a computer. Oh yeah, because recommendations of a computer are so bad. They work out terrible. That's how the entire economy basically runs now. We're all part of an algorithm. We're fortunate in not having an algorithm we need to put ideas through. That's the key difference between the way we work and the SVOD's work, he said. Yeah, okay, great. But it's not really working out so well, is it, Piers? It just isn't. I'm sorry, mate. You right now are Snuggles. You're my dog who can't move because he's scrabbling around desperately in his own piss and shit. That's exactly what's going. That's what these articles are. That's what desperation sounds like. So, yeah, I'm kind of enjoying you squirming a bit because you know what? You know the real viewer data. And look, if Essential the Cybermen went down, I'll be really scared for the Timeless Children, because you're trying to get people to tune in and see that. probably it's going to be awful. Probably it's not going to be very good, and so it's probably going to do more damage than good. The worst thing you can do with any of this woke programming is let people watch it, encourage people to watch, because that's what causes them to go away. My name is Freema Bacon, the Rabbi from another planet. Please like, share, and subscribe. Ring the little bell so you're notified when new videos drop. Again, if you can consider hitting the subscribe button, that is fantastic. And thank you so much. Have yourself a fantastic day.